I have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is moved. Community announcements. Members of the audience may make announcements regarding community events. Are there any community announcements today?
I have one for Fun Crazy Saturday. Our speaker this month is going to be Sam Martin, formerly at NASA. Had worked for years, one of the really great guys around this area. Daughter's a Marine or Major or something like that now. He's going to talk about Neil Armstrong, back before Neil Armstrong was famous, flying the X-15 and all kinds of stuff at Edwards. So it should be a really interesting program. It will be here in this room on Saturday the 17th at 11 a.m. And we asked for a $2 donation. And we have received up to $100 from one person. That's just a suggestion.
Cam's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
Any other community announcements? We'll move on to item 3.
May I make a comment?
Yes.
I appreciate the chairs.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it actually has a level seat instead of the one like I had before.
They're better.
Thank you. Oh,
Moving on to item 3, consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and non-controversial and will be approved by one motion unless a member of the board, staff, or the public requests to move the agenda item to action items. Is there any member of the audience who would like a consent agenda item removed?
Motion approved.
second.
Motion and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And there are nays? There are none. Motion carries. Item number 4, action items. Item A, Tower Award of HVAC System. Staff report, please.
Good afternoon. I'd like to just give a real quick summary of what this is and then turn it over to Floyd to talk in a little bit more detail and answer the board's questions about exactly what this improvement is. But just to remind the board, we've made some substantial improvements and investments to the tower. This is kind of a follow-on to that. It was something that we included in the budget for this year under the capital items. So we do have room in the budget for this. The reason that we are really wanting to have a permanent fix, permanent solution for the HVAC is primarily because of all the upgrades we've made. We have invested about $250,000 in the new radio system. We've got another $250,000 coming of radar equipment that we're going to be investing as well. So we want to make sure we're protecting those investments long term. So we are going to be asking the board to approve a contract with Journey to improve the HVAC for the tower. And I'll turn it over to Floyd to describe a little more detail what this is.
So essentially, the existing 7.5-ton unit is aged with the building. It's circa 1996. It has exceeded its useful life cycle. It's also severely undersized for the size of the building. If you factor in the heat load that we currently have now, with having IT equipment, radio equipment, and radar equipment on the 6th floor and 3rd floor, we significantly added load there. Additionally, there's vents in the 5th floor. It gets rather hot up there. We have 15, 20 people because we've exceeded the capabilities of the current system. So what we're proposing is a 17-ton versus the 7.5-ton variable refrigerant system. It's highly efficient, 18-seer, could perform as well as 21 to 25-seer depending on the load. It is tailorable to the heat load in the building, so if it only requires 1 ton of air to cool the 6th floor, it will only deliver 1 ton of air versus a traditional system that would push us 7 to 10 tons. It also will be replacing the existing system with a energy recovery ventilator to bring outside air in to meet indoor air quality standards. So it is significantly high technology compared to what's there.
What's on the 5th floor? Just an empty building?
The 5th floor is the observation deck.
Okay. That's what the big window?
Big windows. So you have a lot of infiltration there. You put 15, 20 people in there, and if you've ever been up there during an event, it's hot.
Floyd and I went over these plans significantly. A lot of these costs too are upgrading the infrastructure in the tower to handle this new unit. You know, with time that we've added way more than that tower was ever expected to do with technology and everything else. So this is a big cost, but it is much needed to protect the assets we've already stuck in the tower.
Yeah, a third of this cost is in the electrical upgrades that would like to be made as well.
Is there any public comment on this item? Is there any director comment?
I'm just curious, I am curious about, I know there's not a lot of difference in some of the bids, but two of the bids, I'm curious as to why we're not taking the lowest bid.
The lowest bid is $1,900 lower than Journey's. Journey, Frank told me, has experience with Journey's and this specific type of equipment. Journey did the installation in both space buildings and the Skylines buildings, so you feel that they have the professional experience. And to gamble on a company who's not worked with for $1,900, I do not believe would be in the best interest of the district.
So we have one point of clarification that Scott will bring.
Yeah, so you'll notice that there's a resolution that accompanies this item. The reason for that is your policy requires the contracts in excess of $200,000 be publicly bid. In this case, the bid was not published in a newspaper, or the publication whose name I cannot remember now, in Bakersfield. Rather, staff solicited bids from 6 contractors. I believe you received 4 bids.
Correct.
And so that, because it was not publicly bid, it is a deviation from your policy. Your policy allows for deviations if it is approved by the board. And because that policy was adopted by a resolution, because we would be deviating from that policy, we have drafted a resolution in which the board acknowledges that it is a deviation from the policy, and that the board authorizes the award of that contract with that in mind.
It would seem to me, Mr. Chairman, that we would need to debate this resolution prior to approving the contract.
Well, the resolution is, when you approve the resolution, you will be awarding the contract.
Well, to me, it's two different issues. There's the singular issue of, are we in a situation where we should not go out to bid, open bid? That needs to be debated. Then once that decision is made, then we can go ahead and approve the contract, and or pick the contract, vote on it, and then approve the resolution. But to me, it's two separate issues. That's all I have to say about that.
It is, we've just wrapped them into one document. So, and you are correct that the first issue is the deviation from standard board policy. And why do we do that, Ian?
So there's a couple reasons. Number one, we typically when we do advertise, we also call contractors because people don't read the advertisements. So we end up reaching out anyway and requesting bids. The second reason is when we originally put the scope together, we did not expect it to exceed the $200,000 threshold. So that was kind of the biggest reason that we didn't advertise for it, because we thought it would come in below that.
And we expected that number because the engineer's estimate came in under that number, correct? Originally. That's why we didn't originally go that way. And then when the bids came in, we discovered it was more than the engineer's estimate.
Move to approve.
A motion to approve the tower HVAC system contract. Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
This is to approve the resolution.
The resolution and the contract. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3 ayes.
No.
No.
Opposed?
No.
2 nays. Motion carries. On to item 5, financial reports.
So Carrie is actually out today. I'm going to give a brief recap of the financials. If you have any specific questions, I may need to take it back to Carrie, but I can definitely highlight, we had a fantastic year this year, closing June. So our revenue was up over $1 million than expected, which is great. We closed out the taxiway Bravo project this fiscal year as well. So our expenses actually came in slightly less than budgeted. So we ended up with a nice positive number at the end of the year. On the cash sheet, we are going to start to notice over the coming months this balance is going to dwindle significantly because we've got some major projects in the works right now. The primary one being the road project at $2 million. And then we've already engaged Mead and Hunt to start with the environmental on taxiway Charlie. Still expecting this will get approved for FA's next fiscal year for construction in 2020. So with some of the major capital projects we have, we're going to start to see that cash balance decrease. Great fuels sales for June as well. So we've closed out with over 1 million gallons. Carrie actually went back and checked to see the last time we had 1 million gallon year, and it was back in the 90s. So it's been a long time since we've had that successful fuel year. So overall, financially for the year, things are really positive. The audit is starting this week as well, so the auditors will be out here by the end of the week. They're going to come out and start the process.
What do you attribute the fuel sales to the airport, the Navy and?
More activity. We've had a lot of F-18s this year, and the F-18s come and go, so that's why we don't have a consistent, fuel expectation every year. We've also fueled 747 a few times. We fueled Stratolaunch a couple times as well, so some of the bigger sales. A lot of military activity. C-17 came out, coming out again. So, yeah.
Good.
Combination of things, I suppose.
Any questions on the financials? Moving on to item B, the CEO report.
So I actually just highlighted a couple of these things already. We had a visit by FAA Airports leadership in July, which was a great visit. And at the end of it, we debriefed in here. And it's clear, like they always leave Mojave saying this is the model for innovation, and how can we get other airports to accommodate this kind of innovation and entrepreneurship with their customers and stuff like that. So
They can.
the thing that's always clear to them is they see the airport's relationship with the customers, and they always comment how rare that is for the airport management to have such a good relationship with the tenants of the airport. So overall, it was a very positive visit. There were 18 executives from FAA Airports that came down here. Let's see. Nothing else really to highlight unless the board has any questions on anything in the CEO report.
Were these guys, the GAO guys, coming out at the same time, or is that different?
They came out the following week. Yeah, there were two analysts that are doing their report for GAO. Congress is tasking GAO to do a number of studies on spaceports. So this group is doing a study on spaceport infrastructure. If there's potential for a funding pool for spaceports, they just want to kind of learn, where this could come from, B, what's the need for it around the country, so they're touring all the spaceports.
Were you in DC the last 4 weeks?
I was in DC at the end of July, and I actually met with McCarthy's staff, just talking about infrastructure in general. So we did a conference call with the FAA headquarters while I was there. So it's very positive. They've got a lot of our projects sort of in their system now, which is a positive sign. I don't have a lot of confidence that we'll get significant funding outside of Charlie. I still think we have a greater than 50% chance of securing Charlie next year.
All right, thank you. There are no board committees. Item D, Board of Directors. This portion of the meeting is reserved for board members to comment on items not on the agenda. Is any director comment?
I got one. I just noticed when I came in for the meeting today, the oleander is running along Q Street and the airport fence. Do we not water them anymore? It looks really bad. I don't think these are transplanted. I think they're just...
We transplanted a bunch over to the Bellshop Park. Is that what you're talking about?
No. This would be from the Inyo entrance to the Bellshop Park.
I'll go take a look. See exactly
It's
where.
like they have them
Are
watered.
they ours? They're
They're on our property. They're
Okay.
inside.
Yeah, we'll go take a look at those and see if something happens.
Yeah, they look pretty bad.
Okay.
Any director comment? Item 6, public comment. Members of the public may make comments if it's not on the agenda. Is there any public comment? If not, we'll move to item 7, to closed session. Thank you, everybody.
New housing track getting ready to go in on 40th Street.